welcome to Our Energy Matters with Anthony Manna and Dena Marie. Aloha.
Aloha to you too. And here we are, episode 62. Now, what the heck does that mean? What that means is, folks out there, we have been meeting 62 times to talk about our life, spiritual life, physical life, being life, learning life. And what I do is I spend some time in Dena Marie's book, with the title of which I will introduce in just a little bit. And you can see with all those beautiful crystals on the cover. And what I do is I read away, and as I become enlightened, I try to write about what I find in myself and around myself and about others whom I love in my life. And then I write a piece, and then we get together and we talk about that. And we also have a brief phone conversation before every one of these episodes to catch up to where we've come from, who we've been with, and how we're growing. And so here we are. And I say to Yom Tov, good day. Yom Tov, good day to our Hebrew-speaking viewers out there. And I'm calling today Nurturing Personal Freedom. And I'll tell you why in a minute here, because I guess I should just slip into this, don't you think? Sure. Today I say, I slip open-hearted into a meditation inspired by and in spirit with those, I took those words out of your book. I love that business of in spirit with the famed author Charlotte Brontë, who transported me to Dena Marie's spiritually illuminated prescriptions and earthbound practices. We talked about practicing. I told her that word was in there, for healing broken souls, in the book she christened with the spiritual anointment of a title that entices us to remember the empowerment that lies in the sparked, energized centers each of us are urged to summon to create a healthy, fulfilling, and positive life. Our Energy Matters, the art of crystal reading, is Dena Marie's title. Enter Charlotte Brontë. I hereby align Dena Marie in her spiritually endowed role as celestial artist with Charlotte Brontë. The moment I discovered Bronte's revelatory guidance when she wrote, quote, I am no bird, and no net ensnares me. I am a free human being with an independent will. And I knew you're smiling, and I knew right away when I see you there, you know why I connected this to you. It's all over the place, And so I say, hear ye, woven through the tapestry of our celestial artists, that's Dena Marie's, a luminous treasure trove of a book, brightened and burnished bright with spark-tested manifestations of healing and hope, are inspiring stories of Dena Marie's expertise in guiding her seekers, her clients, to, as her book subtitle lets it be known loud and clear, to, and this is the subtitle, learn how to manifest your heartfelt intentions. That has become so meaningful to me now. I don't go a day hardly anymore without coming up with an intention early in the day. I'm imagining Charlotte Bronte's free human being coming straight out to celebrate the redemptive freedom from our celestial artist, Dena Marie, entices her seekers to experience along the pathways where she so compassionately places joyful, practical, and accessible, and even playful and entertaining healing remedies, constructive counsel, and alluring soul, mind, body intentions, sustained and blessed by our divinely inspired alchemists. I also call her that. Refined art of crystal readings and chakra illuminations. And we talked about this a little bit in our conversation today. It was so illuminating to hear you say, many people that you were kind of ahead of your time, because really people didn't understand what a chakra was, you know. So when did you come into that realization for yourself, though?
I stayed home and meditated for what, the 10 years that I did watching my kids, and it was at nap time. And I'd go to these bookstores, and we were talking about kind of being in the closet. I was in the closet with all this new age spiritual, I call it old age now. But I started picking up books, and then I started meditating, and then the chakras came to me, and I loved the idea of it. And then when I started playing this rock game, I only picked one rock. Then I had them pick 7 about 5 years later for each chakra. Before it was just you pick one rock and I'll tell you about rose quartz or amethyst, and that was the reading. And then when I started putting that in, it became magic. So the chakras, I say it wrong, it's chakras even, but yoga, it's yoga. God bless yoga, goddess bless yoga. Because without yoga, you know, I did this 12, 13, gosh, no more than that. God, maybe 30 years ago. I have no idea how long it's been, but they didn't know what a chakra was. And now they do. So I'm sharing my 365 prescriptions that I did, you know, 14 years ago, and now people get it.
And so I think the best, when I mean, what you've done for me is to introduce me to the chakras in a way that it's not mystical. And we talked about this today. It's concrete down concrete, accessible, meaningful in a life, you know. Whereas, for example, you keep telling me about my throat chakra. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, every time we do a reading, you're missing your throat chakra. And just recently, you had a dentist who wanted to do a procedure again. You're always wanting to say no to these procedures. Every time I'm with you, you don't want to do something, whether it's be on a board for something, but your arm's twisted, and you say yes when you mean no, and then all of a sudden you're doing something you don't want to, and now your tongue's tied. But in past lives, and I do believe in past lives, we are persecuted for having a voice. We are persecuted sometimes for writing and passing that on. You know, the catacombs. You know, the scribes. I've seen many lifetimes of scribes. All they are human copy machines, but they read this stuff. They read it, but all they did was never get to talk about it. So I have some people that come back here and they're super anti-church, and they have a lot to say. So, like I said, in this lifetime, you're a writer, you express yourself more, you're opening your throat chakra, and now you don't have to get your procedure.
Yeah, yes. I mean, that's what happened with this surgeon, this oral surgeon. And it was like, I could have said from the very beginning, if I had been in touch with that energy level. And see, that's what's so important to me, is when you talk about the chakras as these vortexes, these energized, you know, entities in our being, in our soul, you know, that we can capitalize on to heal.
And that's what it's all about. This is what this is all about. From a little girl sitting with me who's 14, who can't talk to her mom and has consistent sore throats. And this is my daughter's friend, Sarah. It was Sarah. And she's a Gemini like me. So we both attracted family lives where we were silenced. So I had asthma. I always had mono or sore throat. I had everything you could have. Ever since I learned to express myself, even to my mother, which she doesn't talk to me anymore, but it's one of those things. Ever since then, I don't get sore throats. I don't have to go to the doctors. I don't even have asthma. I've been hanging around animals and I'm not even allergic to them. What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, and I think that the brilliance of your book, is that you have these prescriptions, these remedies, you know, and I want to go back to those in a session soon, because once again, you know, invite yourself out on a date, write a love letter to yourself, you know, do this. The prescriptions are so perfect for what they do for me. Is if I'm getting into a mix-up, let me put it that way, my own, you know, sense of spiritual mix-up or physical mix-up in the day, and I'm dropping things, or I'm downing I'm not happy with myself as a writer because I'm not going quickly enough or whatever, to go to the prescriptions, it's like a breath, you know, it's like a meditation, and it brings me to get stable, to realize that I'm okay, and I can say, all right, my intention for today is to be kind to myself, and that's a perfect move.
And for me, I just had that story too, where there's one voice inside you that says you need to be working all the time. You need to be productive. What are you doing? And then there's this other voice that says, why don't you take yourself to the beach and have a picnic? And like, again, the other day, I found someone's wallet as I was leaving. I turned out to be someone I know. I called her. She was so appreciative. She was at the bank trying to get that process started. And the next day, she had a reward out for it. She put it on Facebook, a reward. I didn't know that. And that morning I said, I just want to make money having fun. And so not only did I know her and get to see her again, and she was so thrilled to see me, then she hands me this money. And I'm thinking to myself, the old Dena would have said, well, I said absolutely not. And then the other voice is like, Dena, absolutely. Yes. This is what you asked for. Now that's called self-love and being receptive to receiving from another human being who's so thankful. And it's so weird. The old Dena had this, no, isn't that crazy? Crazy that we were raised that way.
Oh yeah, no, I believe me, I know exactly what you're talking about, because so often when I say yes, I mean no, and then life becomes misery, because you just feel cheated, like you're cheating yourself.
My daughter's going through that, and it's the word obligation.
Yes.
If you feel obligation, that is the universe saying, absolutely not. This is not for you. And I'll be honest, what she did is gave her car to a stranger for 2 days. Who does stuff like that on a Saturday night? And she goes, I didn't want to do it. I felt obligated. And I was like,
oh no.
Start saying no.
I know, but I think we both can understand that it is an attraction, to feel, because, I will say to Don, my friend, my partner, he'll say, well, why did you say yes? And I'll go, I think it has a lot to do with a chakra that's not balanced.
What do you say about that? You and Dena.
He looks at me because he hears me talking about these chakras now, and it's like, what are you talking about? And I thought, he's going to have a session with Dena Marie. That's all I can say. We're gonna have to fly her out here. Anyway,
fly out here.
I went through your book, and I made it the word. If you saw it on the paper, it's freedom. And I said it about 4 times because I'm looking for signposts of freedom in your book. So I'm asking you to slide a few bebop steps into your celestial alchemist persona and tell us about freedom of the soul and the heart and the mind. And so what I will do here is I will say to people who are watching us, observing us, that I've invented a medium called Celestial Arts Quiz Show. And my only contestant is Dena Marie, the celestial alchemist, artist. So here's your first one. And I always go back to this quote. It makes me feel so enlivened. May the facades we wear fall to the earth and scatter to the wind, never to be seen again. Where's the freedom there?
Freedom to be authentic, to be yourself. When you start saying yes to yourself, you start attracting people that will say yes to you. And it's very strange because it's like you're being rewarded by practicing self-love. Every time you do something for yourself, which could be just being you. I'm weird. Okay, I have pictures of me sitting in 200 pounds of polished stones. Was that normal? No, but I would take it to farmers markets and I could promote my book that way, and it worked. But it was like, I had to be me. I think my husband liked it that I drove around with 200 pounds of polished stones. No, most of the people I know from my past think I'm a little crazy, but the people with me now know me. I mean, they know who I am. I get to be myself wherever I go. And I did have a situation, right, for 3 months where I walked into a building with someone I had to keep my mouth shut and just try to please because the person was unpleasable. And every day I felt some type of barrier, like, don't do it. Hopefully she's sick. I mean, I really was thinking maybe she won't be there today, right? And that is not a way to live your life. So what did I do? I used my throat chakra and I practiced with her over and over every day. And I told her exactly how I felt when instead of crying or leaving or running away. And then she fired me.
Yeah,
you know what? It was perfect. I passed a huge test. And the next day, all kinds of opportunities opened for me. But she was an exercise. So if I was to be someone I'm not to help her or people please or try to keep the job, then I would have not passed the test. So the facade is basically something we wear so that we can go through and do things we don't want to do. So be true to yourself and freedom. There's a lot of freedom in being yourself. That's when you get to fly. That's when your wings expand.
I'm so glad we did this today. I'm so glad I found Charlotte Brontë. And that quotation, it rang a bell immediately, in thinking about your book. And I've got others. We have to move on right now because it's time, but I have others, which I will continue the next time with this business of freedom, because it is such an important, when you describe it the way you just did now about the choices you make for yourself and the chances you find yourself in, it seems to open a door, doesn't it, to that serendipity that, you've also talked about so much that we did a whole session on, and then on your show, Lift Your Spirits, we talked about that. It's
the wink from the universe. So when you do something spirit tells you to do, it's not going to be normal, then you're rewarded. I just had a nice conversation with the kid that you just got to see downstairs, because he's in a group where he doesn't feel empowered anymore. He feels repressed and he doesn't have freedom, and he wants to be in the group, but this one person's bullying him. And I said, I just went through the same thing. Maybe if you find something else you love to do and spend more time with that, it'll open a whole nother door. And you might attract a whole different group of people, and it probably will be better. But if you choose it, even though it seems hard, I know it seems crazy, if you do it, then the universe winks, and then it gives you a magical moment, and you're back in flow or synchronicity.
That's wonderful, back in flow. Want to move closer to Dena Marie's wisdom, folks? Then listen to her weekly radio show, Lift Your Spirits, on 1150 AM KKNW. I've been on the show several times. I watched the show more than several times. And writers, poets, philosophers, singers, the show is just so vibrant. Her website is dena-marie.com, and you can find out about her show, Lift Your Spirits, there. She's very active on Facebook. And what I like about Facebook is that she'll often have a daily chakra insight that she posts. And I always look forward to them because they're so, they connect me to myself and to others. There are also startling photographs of the island she inhabits on the West Coast. My website for an interview with Dena Marie is on, my website is anthonymannabooks.com. That's MANNA. So go to my website's media section for Podbean podcast interviews. You'll find Dena Marie there, and you'll find a lot of illustrators and writers. And in illustrators and writers, that's right. And in my website, you'll also find a lot of information about reading and writing with and for children, tweens, and teens. Oh, that was a nice session. I'm glad we had a chance to get together. Thank you so much. And
always a pleasure, and I missed you. Okay,
we had to miss a while. I was away. Yeah. Good for you, Dena Marie. Thanks an awful lot. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye.